Dirty Sports episode 674. We are live in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I am your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host via Los Angeles, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Good afternoon.
Good morning here. It's still morning, yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hanging in there. Just been hunkered down, watching election results.
You?
Tuesday night, I was watching all the election stuff. And then yesterday, it was like, oh, okay, wake up. A lot had happened, but still wasn't over. And then yesterday, I was just like, well, at some point, they got to call one of these two states and we'll know who the next president's going to be. And I literally just sat and watched CNN all day and was like, they're not going to do anything. And then I was like, well, I've wasted a whole day. But what else is there to do? You know what I mean? I golfed with Tug and Laz on Tuesday during election day. We were like, let's golf. We'll stay out of the craziness. And then, what else am I doing?
Yeah, well, I think I knew this was going to happen. I took a different approach. I didn't watch any election stuff Tuesday night. So I had a great day in the yard, riding.
Great day in the yard. I know you sent a text to me and Mikey.
Oh my God.
Showing off your handiwork.
God, the riding mower is amazing. Spent about 3.5 hours in the yard, cutting the grass, raking the leaves, tidying everything up.
Now, didn't you just do that? How often does this have to happen?
Well, I did the front yard on Saturday.
Got it.
So the backyard's about a half acre, so the front yard's not as big. But anyway, admired my work. Had to go full Walt Ruther and just stare at the patio and spend some time out there. And I decided I'm not going to pay attention to the election. I'm going to get stoned. And everybody was great, and I wasn't hearing anything. And I watched the first episode of Mandalorian, and it was about 11:30. I had no clue what was going on until I got a text from Yoshi, and he ruined the whole thing.
Why? How did Yoshi ruin the whole thing?
I didn't want
he just wanted to talk election stuff?
I didn't want any information, and then Yoshi blew up my phone with a bunch of text and was like, Ohio's going Trump. And I'm just like, well, there it is.
Did you think that you were going to be able to avoid forever who was the president of the United States?
No.
You're like, listen, no spoilers. I don't want to know if it's Reagan or Bush. Did Trump get reelected? Just don't tell me. I don't want to know. I've got it DVR'd.
My goal was to make it through Tuesday night and going to sleep, having no clue what was going on.
Such a weird personal goal.
Well, it was just because I didn't want to get anxiety. Not that it's anxiety. I just didn't even want to think about it. Like, my little brother called me and I said, don't say a word. Don't say a word. I let certain friends know, don't say a word. I muted the text thread with the Ruther brothers. I was like, I don't want to know. And then, because the minute Yoshi said that, it gives some sort of indication, right?
Yeah.
Of like, okay, this is going to be close.
The fun part for me is I've started getting into live betting more and more with football games, and like my move is to take teams. I don't place live bets all that often, but my move will be to place live bets on teams that are down, and if I think that they're going to come back, try to get some value when they're down. And one of the sites that I use, they were allowing you to live bet the presidential thing. Ooh. And so then I was like totally intrigued in that. I was like, oh man, like this is really swinging like all over the place. Like at one point they had Trump at minus like 650. I was like, I was like, so Trump is officially the next president. And then like a couple hours later, it had swung back to where Biden was favored again. And I was like, this is just, it's craziness.
Yeah. Well, obviously so many states are still so close, which is then going to create this recount.
Which we all knew was going to happen regardless.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the reasons I went into my bunker, so to speak, was just, I don't want to deal with it. And people get so worked up, as you know.
I know that was the thing. Like, I actually leaned into the complete other thing. Like, I loved being on Twitter, watching all the panic, because obviously the majority of people that I follow would be probably considered liberals, and they just like the panic when it wasn't going their way. I mean, Rappaport was like, influencers don't influence shit. I hope you all learned your lesson. And I was like, you have literally made a career out of just calling Donald Trump Dick Stain for the last 4 years. Like, I was like, this is your brand. But I loved it. And then obviously, like, I got involved in some of the social media stuff, writing tweets and, you know, joking on the whole situation.
You went gangbuster viral. That's the most viral tweet you've ever had, right?
Oh, by far. Yeah, by far, in a landslide. And again, that was just me, you know, as many of my political tweets are, and even my sports tweets to some degree, you know, it's calling out the hypocrisy, and it's calling out people with reminding people of their dumb takes, you know, like it was just the presidential equivalent of me doing the, like, so that the East is now the weak conference. Is that what we're saying now? Like, reminding people of the dumb shit that they said. So I just wrote a tweet reminding, you know, Republicans that basically they consider a baby, you know, sacred once it's been in the womb. And I was like, I just made the equivalent joke of votes get their life when they get in the envelope. And it went crazy, which was really just me trolling like 3 people. And then, of course.
Well, it's interesting. Like, we texted about it. When you have a tweet like that, it's funny because then everybody just instantly assumes you're one way, even though you are a stand-up comedian just writing a joke.
Right. Totally. And that's the thing. I mean, for this election, obviously a lot of the easy targets and a lot of the easy humor is how Trump people are handling it. And so it's like, I just gotta, you know, I'm just shooting at the targets that are out there. And then exactly, it comes to like, you know, you liberal cuck, you want to murder babies. I was like, man, you have missed the point. But actually, as far as viral tweets go, I think most conservatives who read it just felt fully owned, because I didn't get the angry. I didn't get 1/100th of the angry replies I get if I write something about Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, or Ohio.
Oh yeah, Ohio was definitely the worst ever.
Yeah.
That was the most anyone's ever been triggered.
Do you think, I always think this when I'm driving, because I still have California plates. I feel like people see me in my little bitch car with California plates, and people instantly are like, fuck that guy. I hate him.
Yeah.
Don't you think that?
Probably. You drive by, you got your little, you know, mid-career Bieber haircut. You're like, you got your, you know, you got your fanny pack on. They're like, look at this fucking guy.
Look at this cuck. Get your ass out of here and back to California. I do want to say this, and we texted about this last night. The one thing that has got me worked up, nothing has really got me worked up, is just the pushing everybody to vote. And
yeah, you said that.
And it comes from all fronts. It comes from friends, my own family, celebrities. I think, and I've said this before, I don't know if I've gone into detail. I think when people tell people to vote, I find it intrusive. I'm being sincere here. I think it's offensive. I think it's none of your fucking business. I never understood that, because
well, it seems like you're also dealing with it on some sort of personal level. Like, I think we all see the celebrity thing, like the blanket vote, the vote campaign, everybody vote or die was the thing back in the day when Bush was running. But like, no one really tells me personally, like, I don't have friends or family that are like, you voting? Vote. You got to vote. Like, I don't.
Yeah, but Joe,
I don't deal with that.
We both know people who you see it on their social media. I just think to me, this is the equivalent I use. I don't tell anybody to do with their body, who they marry, any of that stuff, the drugs they want to do. To me, it's exactly the same parallel or along that line. I don't care what somebody does. So I think I literally do. I think it's very intrusive for you to have the audacity to tell me that I should vote or not vote. That's none of your damn business. And you see a lot of it. And I just
And
think,
what people are saying is vote for the person I want you to vote for.
then just say that.
And honestly, if you look at it, and if you look at what's going on in this election in terms of Donald Trump wanting votes to stop, basically the campaign is always Democrats want you to vote because they think more votes means their guy's going to win. And Republicans, you don't see a whole lot of Republicans. You don't see like Clint Eastwood being like, you better vote.
Yeah.
You know? That was a terrible Clint Eastwood. That was like more of like a Sam Elliott.
Yeah, like my brother, one of my brothers was doing that, and he was asking me 1,000 questions, and I just wrote back. I wrote, "Why do you care?" I wrote, "It's none of your business, dude. It's none of your business."
Did you? You should have just wrote back like, "I'm still registered in California." He's like, "Oh, forget it then. Doesn't matter."
No, I sent him the clip, one of the famous George Carlin bit clips about voting not matter.
Yeah.
Which basically he wrote that's a great clip, and I wrote, "Yeah. It looks like you didn't really absorb it though, because that's literally what he's saying about all this stuff." So look, at the end of the day,
but you voted.
I did, but that's not because people told me to.
You voted because you just had to get D's nuts off your chest.
I mean, come on, Joe. I've never voted for D's nuts. It was a first.
Did you feel like? I mean, you already said you basically wrote an entire troll vote.
I did. And a lot of them lost, to be honest. I was surprised.
From the props to your candidate. So
because I guess I'm to the point now. I've gone even farther to that point of being like, it's all bullshit. But I also don't want to be that guy, because to me, that guy is also a douchebag.
Yeah.
Too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that guy who just shoves it down your throat too much. And maybe I do. And maybe I am that guy. I don't know.
You're sending George Carlin clips to your family members.
Just shut him up.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
my favorite thing was when you tweeted that all of your family voted for different people and somebody called you a liberal cuck. That was maybe my favorite. Which I got to say, Andy, here's the thing. We have like the amount of people, like even on my tweet, that are like 14-year-old dirty sports listeners who are like rabid Trumper conservatives. Here's the deal. Whatever you think when you're 14 years old, I promise you won't think when you get hair on your chest.
Sure.
One way or the other, you're going to learn a lot about yourselves.
You will.
15-year-olds trying to talk politics with me. It's like, guys, get laid. And then you're allowed to have an opinion on abortion when you put your penis in something. Before that, you're not even allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah. I know. I look at some of the people I voted for in the past, and also some of the policies that I supported, and just how much it's changed. It's funny though, like, people think I'm a lunatic. Like, my neighbor, she was talking to me, and everybody just assumes I'm like uber liberal because I'm from California, even though on most social.
I mean, I think it also might be that you cut your lawn in a rainbow G-string and you're on your riding mower.
That's the thing, Prano. Like, you and I would be on most issues. We would be very liberal and very progressive.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But it's funny when then it goes to a whole new thing, and like people are like, "What?" Like my neighbors, they had Biden signs up, and they're, by the way, they're the sweetest people. Great family, 3 kids. They're nice. And I was talking to her, and so she's getting the vibe that I'm like anti-Trump, and then I was like, "No, you don't understand. I'm for legalization of all drugs." And then suddenly it's like, "Whoa, okay." You're a little too much for me right now. I'm gonna just
you gotta move to Oregon. They decriminalized everything.
I know, man.
Go
I like
Oregon.
that though.
Yeah.
Smoke some crack.
Well, you can't get arrested for it. Can you imagine just getting a fine for smoking crack? Oh, nice. Like you jumped a turnstile.
I feel like we need to relocate all those Venice people then to Oregon.
I think that will probably end up happening to some degree.
You think?
Yeah, a little bit. I think a little bit people will make an effort to get there. The people, some street people who, the only thing that they do have to worry about is cops catching them doing drugs, and good. That's great. That's a free market economy.
Well, I'm just, my focus is on the marijuana, the cannabis movement. So
I
three
thought you
more
were going to
states.
say the mayoral campaign. So I'm just worried about who's going to be mayor.
No, he's mayor. I told you, he's my brother's good buddy.
Yeah.
It's John Cranley. Anyway, let's talk
Get into some sports, Andy.
Let's do it, Joe. Let's get into some sports. Obviously, we got NFL Week 9, which we will preview. Before we get to that, we do have some NBA news, and we discussed this last episode, so it's a nice follow-up. I can't believe this. It looks like they are pushing for a December 22nd NBA start.
This is really surprising that they're going to start this early. And then why not just go Christmas Day? Like, why not just make it a holiday? Christmas Day, start of the NBA season. I just think that's really early considering the season just ended. I don't know how it will affect like their preseason thing. Like I assume that they can get preseason with the same general length that they've always had it. But obviously their break in between the end of the season and the start of the season is going to be shorter. You and I are basically, LeBron stans at this point. And I think that in terms of our rooting interest, I don't think the Knicks are going to be competitive for a world championship this year. So as far as my rooting interest goes, I think that this is a good thing. It's going to be, I don't think LeBron typically gets very out of shape during the off season. I don't think if he had a normal amount of time off, he'd be eating potato chips. But besides kind of the freak LeBron James of the world, like I wonder how this will affect certain guys who are nursing injuries coming off last year, who or guys who tend to do that during the offseason, which is like let themselves go a little bit and then ramp back up. I'm a big CJ McCollum fan, obviously, and I listen to his podcast from time to time. And typically he says about a month after his season ends, he doesn't do anything at all. It's just kind of vacation. And then he starts back up again. He fully like rests his body. And I think that, those guys will have time to do stuff like that. But how will it affect them that, the ramp up is shorter? It'll be interesting. Hopefully it doesn't end in more injuries the start of next year.
Yeah. Well, to kind of break it down, the numbers, in case anybody wants to know, basically it would be a 72 game schedule. They wanted to finish before the Summer Olympics, because let's not forget, we've all lost track, right? They've moved the 2020 Olympics in Japan to 2021, and they're estimating that if they
and NBA guys will be in that.
I don't know. It's a good question. But what they're saying is if they end before the Olympics, basically on time, it's worth between 500 million and $1 billion. I don't know exactly what this means. It says between 500 million and 1 billion in short and long-term revenues to the league and players.
If they finish before the Olympics?
With the schedule pertaining to how it would be now, yeah.
Got it.
So most likely no fans, obviously, to start the season as far as in arenas. So it'd be empty arenas. But yeah, I mean, when did that final game end? Was it October 11th or 12th?
Yeah.
So we're talking
2+ months.
A little over 2 months.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, obviously, these guys, the elite guys, have done the Olympic thing, where they don't get an off season. They go straight from the NBA season to the Olympics back to it. But just as a whole league, it'll really be interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, it seems like money is driving this, right?
Yeah.
The owners want the money, the players want the money. It's a purely financial decision, which is fine. If these guys want to make the money, and I think, to kind of bring the college sports into it, especially college football and college basketball, I think, Joe, that's the problem is like, if these pro athletes want to risk making money for being on short-term rest or the COVID potential, that's fine. Like I have no problems with that, but that's where the whole thing comes in with college sports, where it's like, well, they're not getting paid. So
right. Well, that's what I've said about college sports the whole time, is like, to ask people to do this when you're not getting paid is really reckless and irresponsible and just kind of criminal. The NBA guys, it's a different thing. It's like you said, they want the money, they want to get started. I think the issue tends to be if one guy goes down, like, knock on wood, I just pick a top 15 player. You know what I mean? If Luka gets hurt and then goes, well, I didn't have, the summer off that I normally have, and I was nursing a knee ankle injury before that, and then I came back on short notice, and now I get hurt. It's like, it's the risk reward. The NBA will go on no matter kind of who gets hurt, but you don't want to lose certain guys and then, God forbid, that you lose one of those guys and then they take an issue with the NBA. But I don't really know the other option. I mean, when else do you start? You start in January, you start in February. Like, how late do you push it?
I think the mindset, right, is that we're all on this awkward schedule basically as a world now because of the pandemic. They're trying to just get back on track, so to speak.
Right.
And get back on the routine, normal 82 game schedule, even though it'll be 72 games, but for the next season after that.
Right.
So, I understand that. I mean, look at the college football season. Games are canceled left and right. The Pac-12 starts this week. We're in November.
Right.
Like,
But I mean, the other thing with college football is like, oh no, now the Pac-12 will have to play right up until a playoffs instead of having 6 weeks off between their last game and the start of a bowl season.
Yeah. What about you personally? Because I want to ask you about that. As far as going to games, I got a survey from the Cincinnati Reds in email, and I filled it out. It was actually, I thought it was a great survey. I filled it out this morning, and it asked a bunch of questions. Did I attend any games in 2019? It starts there. Would I feel comfortable attending games?
This is from who?
The Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
Would I feel comfortable attending games in 2021? But then from there, it asks all these questions. What would make you more prone to attend a game? Where they bring the food to your seats, where there's no cash exchange, all these different questions. So they're clearly trying to get a gauge from the fans. And, obviously baseball is outdoors, and I filled it out. I would attend games, and I would prefer to where you didn't, have to have exchanges. And I checked, they ask would you take food from a vendor, and I don't like that idea. The guy walking around, I just think there's too many hands touching it. But
right.
What about you? How would you feel, whether it's baseball or indoor sports?
It's hard to say right now. I mean, first of all, indoor sports, it's like, why? I'm not a hockey guy, so when we talk about I'm basically a baseball, basketball, football fan. So when it comes to sports, like basketball is better on TV unless you're close anyway. So, yeah. and honestly, basketball in an empty arena is probably the worst of all of them when there's a less of a crowd. You're just like, am I watching a shoot around, whatever. So like, I don't need to go to a basketball game anytime soon. Baseball and football, I'm kind of in the same position with football. It's like, I am lucky that when I go to professional football games, I usually have a pretty good setup. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I tend to go to Giants games. I get a pretty good hookup, but even that, I don't go to that many. So in the taking it outside of my own personal way I attend NFL games, I'm not buying a ticket to go to an NFL game anytime soon just to be there. Baseball is the one sport that I enjoy to go to because of the whole experience, because you're outside, because you're having a beer in the sun. It's a slow game. It's like a whole, to me, baseball is the one sport where it's more than the game that you're there for.
Yeah, it's the
You're there for the atmosphere. And obviously football is is big on the tailgating, but like I'm not doing that anytime soon either. I don't see a time in the near future where me and 25 of my friends are drinking behind somebody's car. So baseball, I mean, I think the thing for me would be, yeah, like what sort of distance am I going to have between me and other people? And then I can avoid, if I go to a baseball game, doing anything but having a couple beers, like I don't need a hot dog. I'll eat before I get there. But yeah, like I think I would, given the circumstances, go to a baseball game and, have a beer.
Now, Joe, I know the dirtballs know, but we got to remind them. If you're having a beer at an outdoor venue, watching some Major League Baseball, what are you drinking?
Miller Lite, the world's greatest light beer, the original light beer, a crisp American Pilsner. I mean, that to me, it's funny that like we're transitioning into an ad read here for Miller Lite, but truly the reason I would go to a baseball game these days is to like sit there and have a baseball game and have a Miller Lite. Like, yeah. I want to do that. I miss that.
Yeah, no, I bet, man. And, you've been stuck doing Miller Lite Zooms, right, with your friends. And you have happy hours where you're socially distanced and you're kind of confined to your own area. And, eventually, as we know, we'll be able to connect with our friends and our loved ones more with a nice cold Miller Lite at a baseball game. Guys, Miller Lite, great taste with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. However you and your friends are enjoying Miller time, you can have the original light beer delivered by going to MillerLite.com/dirty sports and find the delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Had a couple Miller Lights on the golf course with Tug and Laz on Tuesday. It did a good job of keeping my temper low, but it didn't do a great job of keeping my temper low. I had a couple meltdowns on the golf course.
How'd you shoot? Not
good. Started out great, and got hot for a minute in the middle, but just full couple of meltdown holes, and very frustrating.
I got to get my ass out there.
Tug called me after and was like, "How's your throat?" And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "You were yelling fuck a lot on the golf course." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's just the no chill. It's a very frustrating game."
I definitely swear too much on the golf course, but the weather, I mean, this Midwest weather, Prano, it's unbelievable. It was like 40s Monday. Now it's going to be like 70s today, tomorrow. Like, I need to get back out there. There's a few courses by me.
Yeah, like, can you still golf like these days, like in Cincinnati? Like, do they keep the courses open? If it's like the weather's good, you can play?
Yeah, I think most courses probably keep them open most of the year.
Okay.
Obviously, once it gets real cold, I don't know. But yeah, I think, I bought so many edibles, man. And too many. Actually, I'm going to ask you this. Now, I'll ask you on air because this will be good for the dirtballs to know too. Now, I bought so many that like I'm looking at the expiration dates. Do those matter, or does it just make it less potent?
No, it's neither. Honestly,
neither.
Yeah, it's like the expiration date when you're talking about edibles and all that stuff, and these days, like, for so long prior to it being legalized in places, this was all done, I don't want to say black market, but this was all done in like real mom and pop factor. Like, oh, some guy makes some weed butter and then makes some brownies and like puts it out there. And then like you keep that brownie in your refrigerator for a decade. Like now, because everything, when the government legalizes it and you go like, okay, then there's all these things that you have to step through. Okay, each thing can only be 10 milligrams. Back in the day, like when I'm sure I don't know if you ever had the medical card, like if you were ever buying it before it was legal, like legal.
I never had it, but I took it.
You got it through people.
Like you. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember, you got me chocolates a few times.
Yeah. Like back then when it was like medical, it was like, oh, this cookie's got 7,000 milligrams. and now everything, like when they do the legal thing, all these little, bureaucratic like things have to happen. So now things have to have an expiration date, and now things can only be this much milligram. Like I wouldn't worry about it at all, honestly.
Yeah, because I was wondering,
like a little, maybe, like I think probably with anything a little less potent, but like not like that date is like a randomly selected thing. That's probably like, that's when the chocolate turns.
but especially if they're unopened, because I was looking, like I bought so many gummies, and I was like looking at it the other day, and then I was also thinking it's probably the same thing that they do with normal food, right? Like when they say expired, a lot of times food can go longer.
It's best by,
Yeah.
I've told the story a few times on this show for different reasons, but when I went to Amsterdam with High Times, it was me, Pete Sestaro, and Guy Fiorita, and our last day there, we bought mushrooms. And when you're in Amsterdam, because mushrooms are legal there,
Yeah.
the guy was like, took us to a refrigerator, and you had to get fresh mushrooms. And I was like, what? Like, because anybody in the US who's ever gotten mushrooms, it was like a baggie of dry stuff that their buddy who knows the kid in high school who listens to Fish had. And then you're like, what is this? And he's like, it tastes like garbage. Put it in like peanut butter or tea or whatever. And so I was like, the idea that these have to be fresh is wild. Like not only have all the mushrooms, and I said this to the guy, I was like, not only have all the mushrooms I've eaten not been fresh, they've been so long dried.
Yeah.
And he was like, and the guy's like, well, technically, and then so he brings us into this other room. He's like, technically, this whole refrigerator is full of expired mushrooms. He's like, I can't sell them. Since you guys are here with High Times, he's like, why don't you take a bunch of expired? I was like, yeah, give me all of your expired mushrooms, dude.
That's great.
And so we bought like one package of mushrooms, and then I think he gave us like 2 more full packages of like expired mushrooms, and we ate those too, and we were just like, we were tripping balls around the city.
Yeah. Well, I think I've told it too. The first time I ever did mushrooms was in Amsterdam, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Going to the smart shop, it's all fresh.
Yeah.
And I had such a great experience. That's a fun city to be tripping on.
Yeah.
With the canals and the sex shops or sex shows. I mean, I went to a sex show on shrooms, bro.
Yeah. I don't think you're the first guy to do that. I don't think you're the first guy in Amsterdam to do that.
Man, yeah, God.
I've told many different, like the store, our mushroom trip in Amsterdam. Like we took so much mushrooms that like it feels like it was a 25-hour trip. It was probably 4 or 5 hours. And one of my favorite parts though is Pete kept having to go to the bathroom, and I was like, I don't want to go inside these like loud, bars, whatever. And one time we walked in, and it was like straight out of a movie. It was like people do, and we walked in, it was like record scratch, like, and they all like turned and looked at us. And I literally was like, I'm not going in, and backed out. And finally I did have to pee, and we went into a place, and we're like, do you have a bathroom? And they're like, it's downstairs. And we went like to the back of the bar, down some stairs, down a hallway, down some more stairs. I was like, are we going to a dungeon? And then there's 2 little urinals. So Guy and Pete beat me in there. They go. I have to wait. They're done. They start washing their hands. I go in a urinal. They leave me. I'm like, guys, I'm pissing in a dungeon, and you guys have left me here. And while I'm peeing, no joke, this guy comes in He clearly like works there. He's like got, an apron on or whatever. And he pulls open like a small door, like an Alice in Wonderland door in the wall of the bathroom. And
Did
I was
this
like,
happen? Or
what?
were you just tripping, dude?
No, I swear this happened and I was freaking out. He like comes into the bathroom and there's like a door that's like molded into the bathroom, and he like pulls. I'm like, there's a door there, and he just sneaks in. He like ducks down, he sneaks in, and he closes the door behind him. And I was like, I literally stopped. I was not done peeing, but I was like, I am getting out of here. And then I'm running out of this place. I was like, they definitely have a dungeon full of people down there.
That's amazing.
And I was like, I get outside. I'm like, you guys left me in there. This guy comes in. There's a small door. He goes into some trapdoor basement.
Yeah, man.
Mushrooms, wild.
I was just about to say, like, you're getting me amped up for some, man. Like, I want to go back to Amsterdam and do more mushrooms.
I mean, I got to say, if with everything that's going on, from the politics to the pandemic to whatever, like, everybody could use a little mushrooms in their life. I highly recommend that. Especially all the 15-year-old dirtballs who are angrily tweeting about your conservative views to me. Eat some mushrooms, then let's see how conservative you are.
And if you don't have access to mushrooms, eat some edibles.
Yeah,
it will just like.
Am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to tell 15-year-old kids that they should all eat mushrooms? I think I
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Eat mushrooms, you weirdos. Take off your MAGA hat. Trade your MAGA hat for some mushrooms. See if you ever put that hat back on.
Yeah, but again, Joe, you have to. I know you're trying to give parental advice here, great parental advice, but you also, like you said, you understand clearly. It's like the opinions you have at that age
is because you haven't eaten mushrooms yet,
and also because of your parents, usually.
Right. Of course, I get that, but my point is, if you want to speed the process along. If you're 15, the process of you figuring it out is going to take 6 or 7 years. Eat mushrooms right now. It'll speed it up.
Sure.
You'll fast track. It's like an AP course. You'll get your college credits out of the way early.
On that note, let's talk a little sports media news, Joe. Big news today out of ESPN. They're laying off 300 more employees and will not fill 200 currently open positions. ESPN has been doing layoffs now for off and on for about 4 or 5 years. This was leaked in the New York Post. And I think it's an interesting discussion because ESPN is really at a crossroads. I'll say this. Everyone's like, it's because of the woke shit. It's not because of that, I don't think.
I don't even understand. What would be the claim?
Like, people are like, it's because they're woke. It's because they're woke, which they're really like, they're really not.
So the claim is that they're like losing money because they're woke and therefore they have to fire people. Okay.
You know the saying, go woke, go broke, but it's not because of that.
Yeah, I know the saying.
It's really not, in my opinion, and I'm sure maybe there's some evidence to that, but the main evidence is that people are just cord cutting. And for people who don't understand this, let me break it down.
No shit. Yeah.
The fees that ESPN charges to the Spectrums, the Charters, the Comcast, you name it. ESPN is one of, if not the highest rate that they charge. I could be wrong on this, but it's up there, I know for sure, right, amongst cable carriers. So that's why it's so expensive. And obviously, we've moved into a different age. We moved into a different age of sports media with stuff like us, independent sports podcasts, to something like The Ringer. All these different outlets, they have more.
There was a time, Andy. That's the thing. I think that's the most important thing in terms of the available content.
Sure.
There was a time as a young sports fan where I watched SportsCenter 3 or 4 times in a row in a day.
Yeah, me too.
Because you're like, where am I going to see these highlights? It wasn't the internet, like, let me go. And I feel like as a young sports fan, I knew a lot more about other sports than I do now. I knew way more about hockey in the 90s than I do now, about golf than I do now, about tennis. There were times when Wimbledon was the only thing on.
Yeah.
So I watched Wimbledon. I have watched more Pete Sampras tennis matches than I have watched every person currently playing tennis matches combined, because there was a time where that was the only thing to do. And the idea that now, even myself, I only find the things that I want to know about. I'm not seeing NASCAR highlights anymore. I'm not seeing tennis highlights anymore. I'm not watching ESPN anymore because, like you said, I know the avenues that I can go, whether it be the Ringer, whether it be somebody's Twitter feed, whether it be whatever. So the idea that this has anything to do with anything besides people having so many more options is kind of crazy.
Yeah, and look, the numbers, it's not just ESPN. I mean, if you look at the numbers.
I mean, more people watch an episode of Cheers than will watch any single NFL game this year. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's like everybody.
Say that again. More would watch an episode of Cheers?
Yeah, because it was like.
Is that true?
Probably, or certainly like the finale.
No way. The finale, maybe.
I bet you then any like non-national, you know what I mean? Any local game, any.
I mean these NFL games are getting, Sunday Night Football is still getting 12 to 15 million.
Okay,
viewers.
Sunday Night Football is the only thing on. But like my point is, there was a time there where it was the only thing on. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I get your point.
So like the idea of get woke, go broke is so it's honestly just so stupid.
Well, it's just not factually based. Like to me, that's more of an opinion argument where, like I said earlier, I can look at what the fees are that these cable outlets have to pay to get ESPN, and I can also look at the amount of people who've cut cable and cut those things. I mean,
and let's talk about one other thing with ESPN. ESPN was a bloated company for a long time.
Oh yeah,
you don't need.
They had to trim the fat.
A reporter at every single team's facility.
Sure.
Like,
I totally agree.
The idea is like, who's Sal Paolantonio? Oh, Sal Paolantonio is a guy who covers one NFL football team
the Eagles.
for the ESPN. So he works for ESPN and he just hangs out at the Eagles facility. That's it. And they go to him once an episode, maybe. And they go, Sal, what's going on in Eagles land? He's like, I was just talking to Andy Reid, who says Donovan McNabb wiped his ass from left to right today. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
It was a bloated company. And, they got over their skis and now they're overcorrecting. And honestly, if you watch ESPN now versus 5 years ago, is it a much different product?
Well, look, it's I don't watch it really. I'm the same way. I had it on in the background. Monday Night Football ended the other day. And I have nothing against Scott Van Pelt. I think he's a talented host and talented anchor, right? But it's like I had it on for a couple of minutes and I actually started watching it. And I was saying to myself, why am I watching this? I just watched the game, the Giants-Bucks. I'm not going to get anything new. And again, this is nothing against Scott Van Pelt. Like I said, I think he's great. But I just turned off. My
girlfriend, for some reason, cannot watch Scott Van Pelt. She's like, turn him off. It's like the boogeyman to her.
I just turned. Is it because he's bald? Does she hate bald people?
I don't know. We'll have to ask her sometime.
Yeah, I just turned it off. But it goes along with your point, Joe, of like, if I want to see anything, I'll just hop on Twitter. And I'm sure ESPN is going to do a reset button or, they're going to pivot because they're going to have to. But what's crazy is in the middle of all this, and that's kind of a good segue, in the middle of all this, Joe, as well, ESPN is in a massive multi-billion-dollar bidding war to try to get Sunday Night Football.
ESPN is.
Correct.
To pair with Monday Night Football.
Correct. Because ESPN wants a Super Bowl.
Right.
And currently, CBS, Fox, and NBC, the three networks, rotate the Super Bowl. Right now, listen to this. ESPN this is what's crazy. ESPN
now, would an ESPN Super Bowl be an ABC Super Bowl?
Most likely, yes.
Okay.
So if you break down the numbers, ESPN spends $2 billion per year for Monday Night Football, which is crazy because Sunday Night Football, which most people argue is a much better product, ironically ran by former ESPN employees, Sunday Night Football only cost NBC $950 million. So ESPN is paying more than 2 times what NBC is paying. And most people would agree, and I would too. I don't know if you would. I would agree that Sunday Night Football is the new Monday Night Football. Would you agree?
Okay. I mean, I don't even really I don't really even know what
what I mean by that? Monday Night Football was always the pedestal, right? It was always.
But you're saying as in like it's the premier game?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. I
that
mean,
people care about the most.
I think obviously, I think when the marquee games, I think the thing that Sunday Night Football is the flexing of Sunday Night Football. You know what I mean? Especially late in the year, they're able to flex those games into the late game. Matchup wise, even prior to Monday Night Football, I think or Sunday Night Football, I think Sunday Night Football is only like 15 years old, right?
No, it's no, because ESPN had it. Remember back in the day?
Right.
It changed. It changed to NBC. I want to say probably around that time, 2004, 2005.
But like there was, my point is Monday Night Football always had the matchup could be whatever. You know what I mean? They always try to give X amount. They always try to have certain teams on at least once a year. And then like by mid-season, those teams could not be good.
True.
But I mean, I still think that there's a Monday Night Football. There's something about Monday Night Football, and maybe it's lost on a younger generation because it doesn't hold the weight it did for us. But I still think that there's a marqueeness to Monday Night Football as well. You have all the build up the whole hours before where you're not coming straight off of another game.
I agree that there's a build up. Now, just so you know, it's aired on NBC since 2006. So remember,
Okay.
Sunday used to be on ESPN.
And that's when ESPN was like, like in the last 15 years, the way cable has even changed. It's like the amount of people that were watching ESPN 15 years ago as compared to today is probably, percentage numbers wise, I don't know, but the percentage of people wise who have it, it's got to be less.
I think the games, like you said, Sunday night has the advantage of doing the flex. I think the games are so much better. The teams are so much better. I think it's a better produced product. I think the announcers are better. I think the in studio is better. Like I think it's better in my opinion on all fronts. And that's nothing to diss Monday Night Football, but we'll see. I mean, ESPN obviously is trying to add to what they have, but it's crazy to think these are multi-billion-dollar deals. It's crazy to think they're going to spend that when people are cutting the cord. Now, obviously, they're owned by Disney, and Disney has all that China money.
Right.
China money. So who knows? What's the smirk?
Was that Trump?
I mean, I'm not doing it. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can call it Trump. China. I mean, I don't do impersonations. You know that.
China.
I really got into the camera on that one.
I know you leaned in. It was like this, like you were coming out of a pool. Your hair back.
You want to get to some games?
Yeah, of course.
Well, before we do that, Joe, I want to remind all the dirt balls that are weekly.
We can also agree Thursday Night Football is the worst, right?
Oh, yeah, Thursday night is awful. Totally agree. Our weekly picks are brought to you by our friends at Game Theory Picks, who provide profitable sports betting advice at an affordable price. Subscription options include weekly, monthly, which will save you 20%, and yearly, which will save you 50%. Since sports have returned in July, a $50 per play bettor would have profited over $1,000 in just a few months by following the advice from our friends at Game Theory Picks. Guys, receive your first month of Game Theory Picks for just $40. What a great deal. Yeah. Simply visit GameTheoryPicks.com and use promo code NFL 2020. Look, guys, I know how big betting is. I know how big all these, not only spreads, but in-game betting. Just go to GameTheoryPicks.com. These guys have factual, statistical advice. It's not just some idiot being like, dude, I'm going my gut on this one. Carson Wentz is going to really come out with this fucking camo sleeve and really just sling the ball around. No. Trust. Look, what do I love in this show? I love facts. These guys are statistically based. GameTheoryPicks.com. Use promo code NFL 2020. A lot of smirks on that face today, Joe.
Yeah, no, I'm just enjoying I like the different characters that you're doing today. You're doing a lot of character work.
I've been practicing.
I didn't know. I didn't know if that almost seemed like it was like a deep South Joe Prano. It's like Carson Wentz out here did your camo sleeve.
It was a deep South Joe Prano done by Matty Goldberg.
Yeah, exactly. A little more lisp in it. Where's Goldberg these days?
I was just gonna say that.
Goldberg has been playing in one long online poker game since the last time he appeared on Dirty Sports.
No, we still stay in touch. I was texting with Matty last week. Yeah, it was recent. It was definitely last week, and he's like, I got to reach out more to you during NFL Sunday. I think it was about Brady, maybe. Prano, there's a lot of chirping around you and Brady. Did you get a text from our boy Damo?
Yeah.
Did he send you what he sent me? I said, you got to send that to Joe.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I people can chirp to me all they want. I mean, we'll see how it all works out. Like, great, Tom Brady looks pretty good on the Tampa Bay Bucks right now. Tampa Bay Bucks have great weapons, great defense, running the ball. I mean, the Giants got after Tom Brady the other night. Obviously, he won the game, but I wouldn't say he looked magnificent in that Giants game. Look, Tom Brady wants to play till he's 45. Tom Brady has 6 Super Bowl rings, correct?
Correct. 9 appearances.
9 appearances he's been playing about 20-ish years. So he's been to the Super, like, Tom Brady has basically been to the Super Bowl every other year that he's been in the league.
Pretty amazing.
He wants to play till he's 45, so he's going to be on the Bucs for a couple years. Let's see how many Super Bowls Tom Brady goes to without Bill Belichick. I can't wait to see if I'm wrong, if it's been the GOAT the whole time.
If they go to the Super Bowl this year, come on, man.
Sure. If they go to the Super Bowl this year.
They don't even have to win. In my opinion, if they go year one in what could historically be called a dumpster fire franchise. I mean, obviously the Bucs had a nice run with Dungy. They won a Super Bowl with his guys, with Gruden. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he went to a historically poor organization. If you could take them to a Super Bowl in the first year, I think you just stamp that GOAT status.
Great.
Would you? Actually, that's a great question. If they go to the Super Bowl, would you officially call him the GOAT? Would that turn the tide for you?
I mean, it would help his cause a lot. But again, I think you also still have to look at the play. You know, if Tom Brady plays well and they go to a Super Bowl, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he obviously would have to. We are talking about, though, you know, and we did talk about it last episode, and we'll talk about it now. Like, the NFC is wide open. So, you know, he's adding Antonio Brown. That, like, there's a lot of things happening. And, you know, Tom Brady definitely has that LeBron thing. And it's a little bit even easier in the NFL than it is in the NBA. But he has that LeBron thing where he left teams and now guys are showing up to play with him. I mean, Gronk came out of retirement.
No, he does.
Antonio Brown came out of retirement, and that's great. And good for good for Tom Brady. I have never once said that you can argue with Tom Brady's legacy. I've never once said that. I've never once said Tom Brady doesn't have more hardware than any professional football player ever. And I don't argue with that. My only argument for Tom Brady is if you were asking me who I want at quarterback, I don't know that I take Tom Brady for a game, and I don't know that I take Tom Brady to start a franchise. So is it like people come at me like that's a diss? I don't know that that's a diss. Like, is that a diss?
Yeah, to a degree it is, I think, with everything he's accomplished. By the way,
If you
Antonio,
had to win one game, you're taking Tom Brady? Like statistically, career-wise, everything he's done. You're playing in a Super Bowl. You don't know your team.
I'd say this much. It comes down to two guys for me. It's Brady or Montana.
Right. And Montana has a perfect Super Bowl rating, basically, and has, 19 touchdowns to 1 interception. Like, the one thing you can't argue is that guy played great.
He was flawless
when he got to the highest game. So, okay, so it comes down to those two. Now, you could say Tom Brady's the GOAT because if you're taking one guy to start the career, you're going, okay, well, maybe that comes down to a couple guys. Maybe it's Brady and, Manning. Maybe it's Brady and Mahomes at this point. So
sure.
Just like LeBron, you do in the NFL with LeBron, you could say, hey, if he's part of this conversation on both sides, then he's the guy, right? And to me, it's like, just because I won't take him for either of those, I don't think that that's a diss. And also, him and Belichick have been paired together. Let's see what happens.
My question to you would be one game Super Bowl.
I mean, I'm taking Joe Montana, and I'm not even thinking about it.
Okay. Well, then who's your backup? Who's your secondary guy?
If I had to win one game, I mean, Brady could be up there at this point. I know it's early, but like Mahomes is climbing that list for me on a lot of fronts.
Sure. Yeah. By the way, before we get to these games, I have to read this off.
Also, one game. I mean, is Eli in the top 5?
Stop it. He's
not in your top 5.
Get the fuck out of here.
You had to win one Super Bowl game.
No way.
Your top 5?
No, not even close.
Okay.
Not even like look at my face right now. Have you seen how it's changed? I'm disgusted that you would say such a ridiculous comment, Joe, being a full homer.
Okay.
Eli?
I have a feeling Russ is in your top 5.
No, he's not.
No? Well, that's good.
Dude, if I have top 5, I would say Brady, Montana. Like I said, for me, that's probably a toss-up. I mean, I might have Elway up there. The guy played in a bunch of them.
Losing record in the Super Bowls. Didn't win one until he was handing the ball off to the MVP.
Mahomes, of course, is in there. Aaron Rodgers. We're 5 already. Come on.
I mean, I wouldn't have Elway if I needed to win one game guy.
Eli. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here, Joey. By the way, here's some numbers. This is kind of interesting back to our initial point about the ratings, courtesy of Stanga on YouTube. This is kind of crazy. This shows the difference, though. Joe, the Eagles-Cowboys game, which we knew would have dumpster fire teams and a third-string quarterback, got 15.7 million viewers. The Bucs-Giants, Marquee City, New York, obviously, they're down, but Tom Brady, the star power, 11.7 million. So 4 more million people watched that game. To me, that sums it up where we're at with Sunday night versus Monday night.
Right.
Well, this Thursday night game is going to be a dumpster fire because the 49ers are either injured or they have COVID.
Right. And they struggled last week. They've now gone. Jimmy G they've listened to our show. They've sat Jimmy G for a while to try to get him healthy. Is this a trap game because of this?
With Mullins?
No, I'm just saying, is it a trap game in general? Oh, they have COVID, they're injured, they have a backup quarterback, it's a Thursday night.
I don't know, man. That's pretty tough for me because
it's in the Bay, it's in Santa Clara.
It is in Santa Clara. It's just no George Kittle.
Yeah.
Like they're losing top guys to COVID.
What's the spread on the game?
The current line, wow, it's jumped. Yesterday it was 5.5. Now it's up to 7 Packers favorites.
I don't think this is a trap game in terms of a loss, but I think it'll be closer than people expect, although I'm still going to take the Packers.
I'm going to take the Packers as well.
I think it could be a game for a minute, though. Because you're going to catch these guys off guard because everybody's taking a deep breath because they're hurt and they're whatever. Now, here's a question for you on the 49ers. Look, I want to talk about both these teams and potential acquisitions. Obviously, our boy.
Oh, yeah. I like where you're going with this because I was thinking about this too.
Our boy Laz is a big Niners fan, and there's a lot of talk about like what the Niners do at quarterback going forward. Is Jimmy G the guy? Is he not the guy? There's been rumors of Matt Ryan.
I saw that.
There's been rumors, although they're a little bit quieter rumors, but there's rumors of a Dak Prescott signing. What is the next move for the Niners at quarterback? What would you do? Do you stick with Jimmy G? Do you try to upgrade Jimmy G? Do you go all in on a guy like Dak? Do you go all in on a guy like Matt Ryan for a couple of years?
Well, you must have read my mind. I swear. Because when I was taking my morning shit in the basement, that's
okay.
where real.
I think that's where our minds tend to meld when we're both on the toilet and we have this. It's like twin brothers. I can feel you getting cut.
And that's where real men crap, by the way. You take dumps in the basement. That's what real men do. I was thinking the same thing and I was reading into it. Personally, I like the Matt Ryan thing. Here's my thing with Jimmy G. Nothing against him. But you know what the difference is between Jimmy G and Matt Ryan? What's one of the biggest differences between those guys? One is healthy and one is not. Matt Ryan started his career until last year, he didn't miss a start. Jimmy G is hurt. And guys, we've seen it before in the NFL, right, Joe? When guys have the injury bug, name a guy who had the injury bug early in their career, or at least when they became a starter, where they changed the direction of that. Normally you keep that injury bug, right?
Yeah.
So for that reason alone, I don't think Jimmy G's a bad quarterback. But if you can't stay on the field, you're worthless.
Right.
And Nick Mullins is a fine backup. He's a whatever. But I like the Matt Ryan move. You'd be pairing him with his former offensive coordinator as the head coach with Shanahan. I love it. Dak just got injured. I don't even know.
I was talking to Laz. Laz, obviously a Niners fan. Laz was like, I would go Dak over Matt Ryan. I couldn't disagree more. I would 100% think Matt Ryan with an end of his career run with his offensive coordinator, with his former offensive coordinator, with a chance to, play on a good team that has stability that was just in a Super Bowl. I think it'd be a nice move for them. Obviously, there's no sign that the Lions are quitting on Matt Stafford anytime soon. Obviously, he's also out. He has the COVID bug, but he's a guy who I think has to come up anytime you talk about a quarterback situation and a guy that's being, mismanaged by his current team. And then I'll just say it. The other guy, I think this would be the perfect situation for the Niners. Obviously, it's a guy you can't really talk about him wanting to be moved either, except for the fact that they drafted a quarterback that seemed to have pissed him off. Aaron Rodgers back to the Bay, Cal guy, always wanted to go to the Niners. Apparently, I don't know if he harbors beef with the Niners still because they didn't draft him. It's a totally different organization now. But if I was the Niners in the offseason, my first call would just be like, hey, you guys did draft Jordan Love. What are we talking about you needing?
Yeah. Well, I've seen that too. I think that's more of obviously a far-fetched scenario. But it seems like we both agree that Jimmy G, just with this injuries, he's just not the answer.
Yeah. And then on the Packers side, what do you think about all this talk of Will Fuller to the Packers?
Well, from what I've read, the Texans wanted too much.
And so that deal has fallen apart.
Yeah, because the trade deadline ended.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it ended.
Was the trade deadline on election day?
I think it ended.
Did they sneak it in on us like that?
I think it ended. Well, the election day was November 3rd. I think it ended November 4th. Yeah, I think it was. I think maybe it might have ended that night.
Got it.
Adam Schefter had 1,000 phones. He's like, I don't know what to follow, the Electoral College or the trade deadline.
That's too bad. That would have been a nice pickup for them.
Yeah, it would have been real nice. Well, when I'm watching the games tonight, I know you and I will both be playing the Stakes app, guys. Stakes is a free new app that takes game time to another level. Simply answer questions in the app about the game, which we'll be doing through combos, and I'll be going through a few of those. You can win real cash. It's like HQ Trivia meets sports, meets your group chat. The best part is that it's totally free. Create your own private groups or play against friends. We have our own group. If you enter promo code DIRTY, that's STAKEE. I can't spell, Joe. STAKES. There we go. Let's go through a few of these combos questions from the Stakes app. I already filled mine out, but I'll read them. We both said we're going to pick the Packers, which is their first question. The second one, this is a good one. When Devontae Adams has been in the Packers lineup, he's been absolutely dynamite. How many receiving yards will he have tonight? Will he have A, 75 or less, B, 76 to 105, or C, 106 or more? I'm saying 76 to 105. He's been shredding off our defenses, though.
I'm going to go 1 or 6 or more.
Okay. How about this one? The Packers and 49ers are both averaging a little over 125 yards on the ground. Who will rush for the most yards this evening? Packers or the 49ers?
I think the Niners.
Okay. All right.
I think that's the only way that they stay in that game is if they pound the run.
Yeah.
And it seems like they find running backs just on the scrap heap.
I'm going to say Packers. And the last one, when will the first score of tonight's game come? A, 8 minutes in the first quarter or earlier, B, 8 to 15 minutes in the first quarter, or C, second quarter or later. I'm going to go A, 8 minutes in the first quarter or earlier.
First score, not even touchdown?
Yeah, first score.
Yeah, I'm going to go early.
All right. Well, guys, make sure that you download the Stakes app. You can join our private group. After you download the Stakes app, simply enter code DIRTY to compete against Joe and myself. Plus, Stakes is offering private group members special game perks that increase your chances to win free cash. Stakes is currently only available for iPhones and iPad. Play for free, no credit card or purchase necessary. That's Stakes, STAKES, in the App Store. All right, so we both got the Packers winning and covering. Next up, Broncos, Falcons.
This game.
Yeah. Atlanta, which is currently, it seems like might be deciding the election, one of the big cities, is a 4-point favorite.
I like it. I'm taking Atlanta. I wanted to take that. I mean, this is the Atlanta story for me, but Atlanta has had a hold on me for so long, but I am hopeful that the Dan Quinn thing being gone, it has to be a culture change. Atlanta figures it out. They finally put 2 games together in a row. I'm going Atlanta. It's in Atlanta, correct?
It is.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Atlanta.
For that reason, I'm going to take the Broncos, even though I don't want to. Atlanta. All right, this is a fun game. The Seahawks travel west to east to head up north to face the Bills. The Seahawks are 3-point favorites.
Wow. I am going to take the Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, the Seahawks played so well last week, but to me, when you look at the game that the Seahawks lost, this feels like a similar thing, like a kind of a wily offense, a pretty good defense on the road, west to east, Buffalo. Yeah, I'm going to take the Bills.
All right. I'm going to be a contrarian again. I will take the Seahawks to win and cover.
You'll take your Seahawks to win and cover.
My boy Russ. Yeah.
Is Russ still your MVP, by the way?
I mean, it's tough, dude. You know, you got him, you got Mahomes, you got Rodgers. It's like
Mahomes certainly made a big push last week. I know it was against the Jets, but I think the thing with Mahomes last week against the Jets is like, and this is not even a knock on Russ, but like, unless Russ continues to have like just crazy games from a statistical standpoint, Mahomes is probably going to surpass him just because of the style of offense and the weapons and all this.
Pass him in what way?
Just in yards and touchdowns and all that. Like, I think he'll probably end up surpassing him in the statistical totals, but I don't necessarily ever believe that means most valuable, like that it's a statistical award. But
I mean, look, right now, most people say it's between those two. I also think Russ has an advantage that he's never won one.
Right.
It doesn't mean he deserves it. You know what I'm saying? We see it all the time in the NBA. It's like, who's the technically most valuable player? If their numbers are similar at the end of the year and the Seahawks win the division, you know he's going to get it.
Yeah.
Because they want to give Russ his first MVP. All right, moving right along. The Bears and the Titans are facing off in Tennessee. The Titans are 6-point favorites. That is a big spread, and for that reason, I'm going to take the Bears.
I said this last week, and I made some dough on them, but like, I don't have any confidence in the Bears winning this game, but I do have confidence in them being in the game.
Sure.
And you can almost make money counting on the Bears losing these games. I'm going to take the Bears as well, just like I did against the Saints, where they didn't win, but they played to overtime.
All right, next up, Baltimore travels to Indy, where the Ravens are. So these are the two former franchises. Is that correct? I'm always confused by that.
This is, well,
because
the Colts were in Baltimore.
No, because the Ravens are the former Browns.
Right.
So yeah, I'm a little wrong on that. All right, so they're both 5-2. The Ravens are 2-point favorites on the road. I think the Ravens have to win this game, but
I agree.
I'm going to go. For that reason, I got to go Ravens.
I'm going to go Ravens too. It's also one of those games where, like, I don't know that if there's any proof to this. And obviously, being that their division is the Browns and the Steelers and the Bengals, we don't get to see it a lot. But like, the Ravens offense seems like it would enjoy being inside. Am I wrong? I mean, speed in terms of Lamar, like, I think that this could be a big offensive game for them. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Yeah. All right. Moving right along. The Panthers travel to KC, where the Chiefs are 11-point favorites.
Wow. 11. I'm going to take the Panthers just on the 11.
Yeah, I am too. They've been in every game.
Yeah. We'll probably both get that wrong because the Chiefs are figuring it out.
Oh, yeah, especially at home. All right, this next one is a big spread. The Vikings are 4.5-point favorites.
I don't know who they're playing or where they're playing them, but I'm going to take the other team.
Well, and I know why. Against the Lions, there's no Matthew Stafford.
That's
why they're 4.5. I'm going to take the Vikings. All right, your Giants.
Who's playing quarterback for the Lions, by the way?
Is it David? I was ready to say David Blatt. That was the former Cavs coach.
The Israeli former Cavs coach? Wait, excuse me. Can I change my? If David Blatt's playing quarterback for the Lions, I'm going to have to. I would never normally take the Vikings minus 4.5 over anybody, except maybe David Blatt.
Let's see who is playing for the. Who is gonna? What is his name? David Blau.
David Blau.
Not David Blatt, but I would like to see David Blatt.
I actually think David Blatt probably gives them a better chance to win.
So are you going to still go Lions to cover that 4.5?
I will, just on the wonky-ginness of the game.
All right, I'm going to go Vikes. All right, you Giants. Tough loss you guys had. It was a good game against Brady and the Bucks. You guys traveled to D.C., face Washington. Washington's 2.5-point favorite. Your one win on the year is against Washington, correct?
And 3 of Danny Dimes' 4 career wins are against Washington. If there's almost nothing that's a sure thing about the New York Giants these days, except that they're going to lose close games and that Danny Dimes owns the Washington football team. I'll take the Giants.
I'm going to take Washington. Dude, his turnovers are just so bad.
I mean, not only is turnover so bad, I mean, there's the fumbling thing, which it seems like maybe he's gotten a hold of a little bit in terms of like having this quarterback clock go off, where it's like, it's, the saying, nothing good happens after midnight. It's like nothing good happens after X amount of seconds in the pocket.
Wait, that's a saying? Nothing good happens after midnight?
Yeah.
The best times in my life have
2
all
a.m.,
happened after midnight.
It's or 2 a.m. Every dad's got a different time.
Do you know how many great drunken drug sexual memories I have? They all happen after midnight.
Yeah.
I'll take that saying, throw it out the window.
He seems to have figured out, but like his turnovers in the last game, I mean, just, you talk about just reckless decisions. What are you doing
in a game that they were winning and just
and such heavy Carson Wentz vibes? It's like, bro, fucking throw the ball away.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good way of putting it. Definitely heavy Carson Wentz vibes. All right, this next game, nobody wants to watch. 2 1-6 teams. The Texans travel to the Jags, where the Texans are 6.5-point favorites. I assume
Texans are 6. It's at the Jaguars.
I'm assuming Minshew's got to be out, right? The starting QB's got to be out. Yeah, they're starting rookie Jake Luton.
Oh, it's Jake. Well, it's Luton mania. I'm gonna go with the Jags. Luton, it's Luton sanity.
You're going the Jags, huh?
You remember Minshew mania? Jesus.
Yeah, I was all about it. I'm gonna follow your lead and take the Jags. All right, the Raiders.
My AFC football team, my Raiders.
Well, they're coming to town, Joe. They're gonna be playing at SoFi Stadium against my team, the Chargers.
Man, I wish I could go to that game.
Well, the line is currently off. Basically, it's at -0 for the Raiders.
Wow. Well, I was going to say, I was actually, planning on betting the Chargers being an underdog here, because I think this will be a good game. I think this has the potential to be a Chargers win, but at a 0 spread, at an off, I'll take the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. All right, Pittsburgh travels to Dallas. I don't even know who's playing quarterback for Dallas. Is it DiNucci?
DiNucci. I think it's what's his name? I think it's who's the guy they just activated from the practice squad? It's God, you know his name. They bringing him back.
Garrett Gilbert?
No.
That's who's starting.
Is it?
Yeah. Or Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush. It's not Cooper Rush. Who is starting? Here's the thing. I don't care. Tell me what the spread is. It really doesn't matter. It's not Dak Prescott or Andy Dalton.
Well, it's either one of those two.
Yeah.
As of an hour ago, they are waiting to choose. I mean, this is the options.
Yeah. What's the spread?
Could they be more like they have the plainest white guys ever? The spread is 14.
Wow.
It's in Dallas.
I'm going to go with the Steelers.
I am too. But this is my point real quick. This is my point. I understand the Dalton thing was a smart move as far as having a backup. He's probably maybe the best as far as the career he's had, best backup.
Yep.
Like entering the season, right? But like you're still like, I don't know, like these can't be your options.
But this happens to them all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But what are you going to do? They paid a veteran backup to back up Dak. What are you going to do?
True. All right. I'm intrigued by this game, Joe. The Dolphins and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are coming off a bye. The Dolphins are coming off beating the hell out of the Rams. Tua didn't have to do much, but now he's going against a pretty good defense.
Good defense. Yeah.
Arizona on the road. Cards are 4.5-point favorites.
Ooh, it's bigger than I thought it'd be. Man, that is tough. West to East. What time's that game?
It's a 4:25 start time.
I'll take the Cardinals to cover.
I'm going to take the Cardinals as well. Welcome
10
to
a.m. 10 a.m. start. I was going to go the other way.
Yeah, welcome to the NFL too. I think you're going to take some hits this game. All right, Sunday Night Football game. I am stoked for this. I am very excited in this NFC South battle. Brady, Breeze, two 40-year-olds. First place on the line. Bucks are 4.5-point favorites at home.
No, they're not. I'm not doing that. I'm going to take the Saints.
Yeah, you got to, right?
Yeah. I just think, and by the way, the Giants defense is scrappy and is good, and they've been playing well the whole year, and they keep them in games. But to me, the idea that the Bucks are 4.5-point favorites after the performance offensively that they put on against the Giants, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Giants had so many opportunities to win that game.
I agree. I'm going to take the Saints as well. All right, and they're Monday night.
Who do you think wins that game?
I think the Bucks win it. I'll be honest. I'll be rooting for the Bucks. I mean, look.
Where's the game?
It's in Tampa. I'm a Brady stan. Like I'll be honest. I root for Brady. I like Brady.
Is it all the cheating that makes you feel like you should support him?
He's a winner. I like him. Like, I don't know.
By the way, that is what people say about Donald Trump. They're like, he's a winner. He's been winning his whole life.
No, I think they're a little different. Brady had to earn it. That's the truth, though. Brady had to work for it, even in college and when he was drafted. The big D, the big Don, he didn't have to really earn anything. Is that what people say about Donald? They say he's a winner.
Yeah, I mean recklessly, but yeah, you hear that a lot.
Yeah. What do you think they say about Andy Ruther? What do they say about me? They're like, he wins sometimes, loses sometimes. Yeah. he's like, oh.
I mean, we are waiting on him to wear the L chain for a week.
Yeah, I got to fix that.
Is that a week or 2 weeks?
That's a good question.
I think the original bet was like the 2 weeks between playoffs and the Super Bowl.
No, I think it was a week.
Okay, I believe you.
Let me ask you this though. Back to that Bucks game. Over under. I'm gonna set it. I don't know, and I'm sure Vegas has some good odds on this. I'm just gonna do the Andy Ruther one off the top of my head. Over under 50 yards for Antonio Brown.
Under.
Yeah. What if I move that to 45?
Getting close.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, look, the thing is 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. I feel like either way, it's a coin flip. Like he's either going to go off or he's not going to go off at all. You know what I mean? If I had money to spread around, I would spread money on, under 40 yards, and I'd spread money on over 85 yards, and I would leave that middle alone.
You think he finishes the season with them?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, he's living at Brady's house.
I mean, unless it's an injury, I don't think he does something wrong that gets him removed. At this point, he's probably got to figure he's got to be on his best behavior.
Yeah, it's probably his final shot. All right, we have a bad Monday Night Football game once again after a good Sunday night game. The Patriots travel to New York. They're 7-point favorites against the Jets. The Jets are that bad that the Patriots are 7-point favorites.
Yeah, and Belichick owns the Jets, and the Jets are terrible. Seven's still too high for me. I think I'm going to take the Jets.
I agree.
You know what? No, just enjoy the stacks of money you get betting against the Jets. Have the Jets covered on a line this year? I'm going to go with the Patriots. I'll go with the Patriots. What was I thinking?
You know what? I got to look that up. Have they covered? It's a great question. No. Oh, they have. They've covered once. They're 1-7 against the spread. I'm still going Jets.
Well, because Vegas, mathematically, it would say it's in your best interests.
Yeah. All right, week 9, Joe. Maybe we'll have a president announced, at least before the formalities of court.
Well, since you mentioned that, Andy, it's been I wanted to do it here, and I thought about doing it on social media, but I'm going to do it here. I'm conceding the presidential election. I have talked to my legal team. We will not be spending time nor money nor putting the American people through the drama and the trauma of recounts. I will not be fighting the vote totals in any state except for New York. I got to think I pulled better than they're saying there. I did better. I'll be conceding, but as I have said to a number of my followers in our election day messages, Prano 2020 is a state of mind. Am I running for president in 2024? Yes, but we're still sticking with Prano 2020. The message is going to be, you guys fucked up last time. Don't make the same mistake twice. You should have voted for Prano in 2020. You will vote for Prano in 2020. I think essentially every election from here on out is the 2020 election.
I think your slogan should just be "Eat shrooms."
It's been on my platform for years.
It's short. It's concise.
Yeah.
It's very direct.
Andy, here's the thing, and this is true, and it's been true before. All this has been true prior to Dirty Sports, been true prior to you and I knowing each other. The phrase "fix your life" is basically eat mushrooms. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Fix your life.
Sure.
Prano 2020, forever. We'll be back. We'll be back strong in the midterms. We'll be back strong in 2024. Like Kanye said, if God wants me to be governor first, so be it. Thank you for all of your support. Stickers and t-shirts are still available at joeprano.com.
Oh, a lame plug at the end of that. Unbelievable. Well, you guys are at it. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Dirty Sports. And if you leave your Twitter, Instagram handle, or DM us after leaving a review, I will send you some koozies. I got to actually remind myself to go to my storage unit to pick up those koozies, but everything is back here in Cincinnati. That's it from me.
At Joe Prano on Instagram, at Fix Your Life on Twitter. Go and enjoy my tweets that have been going viral today. All kinds of fun people sharing them.
Yeah, you're crushing me. You're crushing me. I've been tweeting a little more, and I think I've had some clever tweets, but you're crushing me.
You look, every once in a while you get one good one. And so follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I also put up a video version of that tweet on TikTok. You can go follow me at Joe Prano on TikTok, at Joe Prano on Venmo if you want to support the 2022 and 2024 campaigns. And then rate, review, and subscribe to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Yeah.
Support. You guys are the base. Also, eat mushrooms.
Oh, yeah. Definitely eat mushrooms. Make that happen. All right, dirtballs. Enjoy your week. Don't argue with people. It solves nothing. That's right, Joe. It solves nothing arguing with strangers online. Have a great week, guys. Spend time with your family. Tell them you love them. These are all important things we need to do.
Tell them you love them.
Just tell people you love them.
Take your vitamins. Hydrate.
Oh, yeah. That's very important. You got to have clean urine. Clear urine, I should say. I'm all about the clear urine. All right. On that note, don't forget, stay dirty.